Hi guys, this is Shalini. So today I'm going to share best dosa batter recipe, and I'm going to show you how to make a perfect dosa on a cast iron pan. So I have been using Meyer brand's cast iron tawa, and it's been almost 2 years and it's well seasoned. However, if you are buying a new cast iron, I'll just show you how to season it before using it for dosa, especially because sometimes it's very difficult to prepare a dosa if the tawa is not well seasoned. So the recipe of the dosa batter which I'm going to share today, it's so much better than the store-bought one. I'm sure if you follow the instruction, you will never buy the dosa batter. And as you can see that I have already started preparation. So I'm going to make a potli. If you have a muslin cloth, just use that for making a potli. And with this, it's very easy to season or oil the tawa. So that's all. So let's begin. It's around 5 p.m. and I'm going to soak my rice and lentils for the dosa. So these are the measuring scoops that I usually use depending on the quantity I would need. So only thing to remember here is that you have to measure everything in the same bowl or same measuring cup you are using. So today I'm going to use this one. So I am going to soak all the lentils and rice in this large bowl. So I am taking around 1 cup of urad dal. Though I added the whole urad dal, you may also add splitted urad dal. It doesn't make any difference. And when it comes to rice for making dosa or idli, I always prefer tiffin rice. It is also known as paramal rice in Pune, or you may also use parboiled rice. So this rice is very inexpensive and it has a light white marks on it. That's how I recognize this rice from the lot. So the ratio I am following here is that I am going to add 1 cup of urad dal, and for every 1 cup of urad dal I am going to add 3 cups of rice. So this is a basic ingredient. Now to make it more healthier and to get them into a nice color and texture, we are going to add few more lentils. So I have added around 1.5 tablespoon of chana dal, 1.5 tablespoon of tur dal, 1.5 tablespoon of moong dal, and around 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of green moong dal. So I do not have a fixed lentil for the dosa recipe. I basically add what is available at my home during this time. So right now I don't have masoor dal, so sometimes I add the masoor dal too. So I just added fenugreek seeds. So it's around 1 tablespoon. Just add fenugreek seeds according to your preference, because sometimes it gives that bitter taste and many of or few of them may not like it. Like we like that flavor and the taste of methi seeds. So that's why I'm adding around 1 tablespoon. And it gives a good color and it helps in fermenting the batter. So that's the reason I'm adding fenugreek seeds. Now let's wash them and drain them until we get a clear water. So maybe around 3 to 4 times. And also whenever you're adding more a proportion of lentils, like if you're adding more varieties of lentils, make sure that you're adding equal amount of rice too, because the ratio should be such that the rice should be more than the lentils. Otherwise you won't get a crispy dosa. So this batter will last this week, and I'm planning to make 3 different dosas this week. That is ghee roast dosa, masala dosa, and one day I'm planning to make uttapam. And so this is the final round. I am just washing it and going to drain it and going to pour a fresh water. So you may use any normal water. And I'm going to rest this dal and rice for good 6 to 7 hours. Now let's grind it in the mixie jar. If you have a wet grinder, you may do it in that, but I don't have one. So this also works perfectly fine. So my dal and lentils are well soaked, and usually you need not soak it for such long hours, but since I don't want to make the dosa early morning, I am going to grind it around 10:30, and the fermentation process will take around 6 to 8 hours, and that really works fine for me. I'm going to grind this in batches. So I have put some lentil and dal mixture, and to that I'm going to add the same water in which we have soaked. So remember that do not add too much of water at one go. Just add slowly and keep mixing them in between. So let me show the texture we are looking for. It should be slightly grainy. So this will give us that perfect crispy dosa. So I'm going to pour this batter into this container. So I have couple of containers like this, and I usually like to prepare my batter in this container since it has lid, and it's quite handy too while preserving it in the fridge and to get it out of the fridge and prepare it. So this way I am going to continue the grinding process in batches. So now I'm going to add half cup of cooked rice to the mixture, as it is good for the texture and color. So I'm going to take half of that and adding some water, and we'll grind it to the same consistency. The cooked rice that we added just now, it's of normal temperature, but whenever you're preparing the idli batter or dosa batter during winters, just lightly add a hot rice. It will help in fermenting. So that's a small trick to prepare the perfect dosa or idli even during winters. So that's the remaining cooked rice. So I'm adding it into the next batch and going to grind the same way. The last and final batch of grinding is done. Now I am going to mix it well and going to clean the sides of the vessel with a wet hand or wet fingers, and going to close the lid and going to let it ferment for good 8 to 9 hours, or depending on the temperature, and that's all. Now it's around 8:30 a.m. and look at the batter. It's well fermented and this is how we want it. Now I'm going to add the salt. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar to the batter. This is completely optional, you may skip this, but I like it because the flavor of the fenugreek seeds and sugar, it's a best combination. So I'm just checking the consistency of the batter. It's slightly thick for dosa. For idli this is perfect, but since we are going to make dosa, I am going to add some water. So before preparing the dosa, we have to season our tawa well. So I'm going to grease the tawa with the sesame oil and bring it to a smoky temperature, and then I'm going to switch off the flame and let it slightly cool down, and again I am going to switch on the tawa and follow the same process. So this way, if it is a new tawa, you have to do it like for around 4 to 5 times, but since mine is already well seasoned, I am just doing it once or twice, and I'll prepare the dosa in it, and it will come out so nicely, and it is as good as a non-stick pan. And this process might look tedious, but it's actually not. Believe me, I have been doing this from so many years, and once when you know the benefits of cooking your food in cast iron, and once you start cooking in a cast iron, you will never prefer any other pans. So I have already shared my cast iron collection in a video, so if you haven't seen that already, I'll go ahead and link that in my description box. Now let's make the dosa. So I am going to take a ladle full of dosa batter and going to pour it and gently spread the batter, starting from the center and just moving towards the outwards. I am going to put around 1/4 teaspoon of sesame oil onto the dosa and going to spread it evenly. I prefer using sesame oil while preparing dosa and Chinese dishes. So if you haven't already used sesame oil while preparing these two dishes, you have to try it once. It just enhances the flavor and taste of these dishes. With the help of this ladle, I am going to turn the dosa. So I'm not going to flip the dosa to other side as it's thin and it's already well cooked. So just look how well the dosa is coming out. It's just because our tawa is well seasoned. So if you want a darker color, you may further cook it for another 30 seconds. And now let's again do the same process. See, just grease some sesame oil with the help of a muslin cloth or any cotton cloth and spread the batter. If you want a thin dosa, just do it this way. I do it whenever I prepare ghee roast dosa or pepper dosa. Here is my breakfast ready. The perfect accompaniment for a dosa or idli is coconut chutney and piping hot sambar. So while I'm enjoying my breakfast, you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. So meet you soon with another interesting video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.